So I thought this week I'd go through some of the fundamentals of playing fingerstyle guitar. It's something that I've touched on in a few other videos, but I've never really sort of put it all together into one package. I guess the first thing to talk about is my posture. And I know a lot of people, I've had a few questions actually, people asking me whether my guitars are on a stand or how I'm able to stabilize them like this. And they're not on a stand, they're just on my legs. It's just how I'm sitting. I'm using a classical guitar posture. And so the guitar, hopefully you can see, it's rested on my left leg. It's actually in between my left and right legs, and that's giving 2 points of contact with my body. My left foot is actually on a box which just lifts it a few inches, and that allows the angle of the guitar neck to be raised, so it's at about 45 degrees. And the reason for that is that it makes it that much easier to just reach around the neck and play all the strings. The problem if you use, a lot of people play like this, and the problem with that is you can see straight away my neck is at a weird angle. And the guitar itself is only supported on one point there, so I'm having to use my hands to stabilize it as well. So that's really why I'd prefer to use the classical guitar posture. It's a much stabler shape and it raises the neck of the guitar as well. So let's zoom in to my right hand and we'll go through the basics of how I approach finger picking. Okay, let's look at the right hand position. You should see that my forearm is just resting on the body of the guitar here, and that's actually stabilizing the guitar. But it's allowing my hand to just float over the strings, as you can see here. And my hand naturally sort of rests in a position over the sound hole just there. I mean, you can play in other places. You get a more tinny sound as you get close to the bridge, and a more mellow sound as you get close to the 12th fret. But over the sound hole tends to be a happy medium. And the heel of my hand is away from the strings. It's not down close. If you get the heel of your hand down close, you tend to have to bunch your fingers up like that, which makes it much more difficult to play. If you get the heel of your hand away, then you're more mobile over the strings and your fingers straighten. And it allows you to play the strings that much more easily as well. In terms of wrist angle, my wrist is slightly curved around like that, and the reason for that is that it allows my fingers to pluck at 90 degrees to the strings, and that's kind of important for the tone. If you, especially on the bass strings, you get a wispy sound if you pluck along the windings, whereas if you turn your hand round, you get rid of that wispy sound. And the thing to do really is to start with pairs of fingers. Start with your index and your middle finger. And if you've ever seen a fingerstyle bass guitar player using, you'd recognise this straight away, this appearance of sort of walking on the strings with the index and middle finger. It's important not to fall into the habit of playing everything with your index finger, for example. You need to start using fingers together because you won't get the speed if you don't use the fingers in together like this. And also try middle and ring, 2 and 3. This can be a real challenge for beginners because obviously you tend not to have the same movement with your third finger as you do with your index finger, but it's important to develop that as well. And just try that on different strings, see what it feels like. Okay, now the thumb tends to work from this joint, not this joint. So this joint tends to be held straight or curved, so then the thumb, the point that's in contact with the strings, is nice and flat, and you get the best tone there. What you don't want to do is allow that joint to bend because you tend to get more of a wispy sound again. So if you can hold that joint straight and have all of the movement come from this part of your hand, then you get a better sound. And the thumb tends to track on the bass strings. Okay, So if I just put an A minor chord on, and we get all the thumb and the three fingers working together. Hopefully you can see that, and this is a good little exercise to start with. Thumb, index, middle, ring finger. Index, middle, ring finger. And this is used in quite a few songs as well. But right now all we're going to do is just get it nice and even, get the volume of each note about the same, get the relationship of each note about the same in terms of rhythm as well. And then you can try changing the direction. So I'm going thumb, third, middle, index, thumb, third, middle, index. And then the final pattern to try is just this, is thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. Gives that nice triplet sound. Just get it nice and smooth like this. And then start looking for songs. There's so many songs that use different finger picking patterns. Like, for example, with this one, Everybody Hurts by R.E.M. Or the first one, that one, is used in Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin. And so the thing is just to start to find these songs and start to experiment with them and get used to this way of arpeggiating patterns. So that's it. It's really important that you expose yourselves to as many songs as possible using different finger picking patterns, just to start to understand and build up those motor skills, build up that proficiency with these movements, because that really is the only way that you're going to develop, is to play as much content as possible. Hopefully that was useful for you. If you like these kinds of videos, if you're interested in these kinds of technique videos, then please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I try and put as much original content out as I can, at least one a week, covering a whole host of different aspects of playing the guitar. I tend to focus on the electric guitar, tend to focus on fingerstyle guitar, but a lot of the things that I touch on are applicable across all of the guitar styles as well. So hopefully there's something in there that would interest you. Anyway, that's it this week. Hopefully that was good for you, and we'll chat next time. Goodbye.